Hello. Welcome to the finale episode of Setback Leadership Season 1, Breaking Glass Ceilings. I hope each one of you are turning your challenges into great opportunities for yourself and you people around you. Well, you must be wondering, what am I doing here? Who am I? Well, that doesn't really matter. Today, we're going to interview someone very interesting. Someone you know for sure. Someone who couldn't speak English. Someone who came from a small town, faced so many setbacks, did her MBA. Now she's a global speaker and author, coaching people, inspiring thousands across the globe. Amazing fan following. She has been interviewing so many global leaders who have had so many setbacks. We really want to understand what really went behind the scene. Well, you're wondering who that person is? You want to know? That is Srijata Bhatnagar. And for a change, I thought she's been interviewing folks. Today, I am going to interview. I'm going to pick her brain, understand what she was thinking, what was the trigger point for her to start this podcast, right? I'm sure you're really interested to know about that as well. Well, she's also my better half. And you know, that's a great opportunity to interview your better half and know if being a better half was her setback or my setback. Well, I was just kidding. Let's understand what Srijata Bhatnagar's journey has been, why this podcast, and everything that we all want to know. Let's go talk to her. Let's welcome Srijata Bhatnagar to the show. Hey, welcome to the show. Must be feeling weird, right? Because I'm interviewing. Usually you're the one who's interviewing and, talking to folks.
Yeah, it does feel interesting to sit on the other side of the table and get interviewed. But I guess I am game for this particular challenge as well.
I'm going to grill you today because this is an opportunity for me, it's very rare. So I'm not going to let this go. Are you ready?
Oh, yes, totally. But before we do that, I need to introduce you, Aneesh. I know you said that doesn't matter who you are, but I think the audiences deserve to know who he is. Don't you think so? Let's introduce Aneesh here to know why is he here? What makes him to sit on that host's table? Let me tell you, he's got about 20 plus years of experience in many domains. He is a senior product leader in a multinational company. He has a huge team that he handles, and at the same time, he collaborates, communicates, and works with many people from many across domains, from many countries, and many languages. So I'm sure you know why he is here today. He is a leader who handles many kind of challenges, and he works for an organization that's high on diversity, that's high on making sure that empathy is huge in their organization, and at the same time they take care of the specific needs of special women leaders. What we are talking about here, glass ceilings, stereotypes, and biases. I'm sure the conversation that Anish and I are going to have today are going to be a great stuff that you will all benefit from. So let's start. All yours, Anish, now.
Okay, by the way, why did you start this podcast, Setback Leadership, specifically on glass ceiling, biases? Why?
Yeah, I mean it's a very interesting story, Anish. When the entire world came to a standstill in 2020, I was speaking to a lot of leaders at that time, specifically women leaders. I'm part of many groups where there are a lot of women leaders, women entrepreneurs are part of. And what was coming out was their challenges. I knew this challenge existed for a long time. But during the pandemic, during the lockdown, this became even more worse. Women were finding it very difficult to manage work, manage work, household people, at the same time managing husbands, you see. Right? So that's when I realized it's probably the right time to talk about these challenges. Help women find ways and easy ways without the particular talk we talk about bra burning feminism. Without that feminism, how simply they can deal with these big challenges and still leverage those for opportunities and growth. So that was the reason I started it, Anish. I hope that gives you the right scoop.
Yeah, that's absolutely the situation. I mean, situation was accelerated because of the pandemic, but even before that, this has been a challenge across the globe. Specifically in India, it's much bigger problem. We all acknowledge. So thanks for helping us bringing the right side of the frame of mind for people, guiding everyone. So I've enjoyed the podcast every season, the 14 odd season. Now, you spoke about stereotypes, you spoke about biases, you spoke about glass ceiling. I mean, what is a stereotype, what is a bias, and what is a glass ceiling?
So, to me, Anish, anything that stops you from growing fearlessly, growing to your original dream, which stops you, whether it could be your internal challenges or it is external challenges, is a glass ceiling. When it comes to stereotypes, how the world see you as a person, what they judge you or what they believe about you just because of you as a person, your gender, your ethnicity, your color, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, the biases are nothing but the inherent thoughts, views, and beliefs that you form about a certain person, consciously or unconsciously, that stops them from growing. So, these are the three things in my head, according to me, about different types of challenges that specifically women deal with it. It's not that only women deal with it. There are men who also deal with such kind of things. There are people of color, there are people of LGBTQ community who deal with such challenges. But primarily, we are talking about women who are the victims of this or more. Now, let me turn the table and ask you the same question. You are a leader yourself. So, what, according to you, is a glass ceiling, is a stereotype, and is a bias?
Well, glass ceiling is um, when you know you can grow in an organization, not just grow in an organization, even on the personal front. When you can see the growth, when you can see the end point, you can see yourself there. But when you try to move over there, there is something that's transparent that or invisible layer that just stops you. You've seen in movies, right? People go and then they hit a glass door without realizing there was a glass door. That's glass ceiling for me, right? And that's pretty common. Everyone thinks next year this is going to happen, you're going to get there, but there are so many situations at office, at home, that prevents that from happening, right? It's cultural, it's the social setting that causes that, right? So that is glass ceiling for me, right? Biases, of course, we face this day in and day out, whether we are talking about while hiring, we're talking about building network, relationships, everything has a bias. And we say unconscious bias because we don't know, even though we say we are not biased, there is always an unconscious bias because we're wired that way. So it becomes very important to train, oneself consciously to avoid that pitfall. So that's bias can be all sorts. It could be on gender, it could be on religion, it could be on a role in an organization, it could be on a relative, it could be someone who has a specific habit or a way of doing things. All of these are biases, right? Now if you look at it, there is also research which talks about, in many cases, some of these biases, some people who are having these habits, it is good, like video games. We say kids playing video games not good, that's a bias. But the other side, the research says it helps people, right? So that's what bias in my view is. Something came to my mind. You've been working on this project for close to a year now, right? What has been the biggest learning as part of this journey for you once you've started this podcast?
Oh, well, that's like a humongous question, and I don't think I can answer it in one line here. But yeah, let me just try it out. So, the most important thing that I learned is there is a need to talk about it openly. That's the biggest learning that I have had. Other than that, from every episode, we have learned such amazing stuff from a point of view of a leader, what the leaders must do in their life, in their careers, to make sure that they are shattering those glass ceilings, they are breaking those stereotypes, and they are challenging the biases that they're facing. At the same time, what the organizations can do in their setting from their point of view, from top down approach, to take care of these things that are actually making their structure, making their employees, making their people, I would say, hollow. It's not allowing them to grow beyond a certain point. And that is what, there's a huge learning for the the companies here to do certain things in a regular basis to make sure that productivity is increasing, and they are letting go of these biases to make sure that they are growing to the 100% potential.
Yeah, thanks, Sri, on that. Now, you had so many leaders, amazing leaders. I've seen the 14 episodes that we had. How did you go about identifying these guests and bringing these leaders onto your show?
Well, I think this is a question that a lot of people ask, and there was a secret here.
And especially when during the pandemic they are managing their work life, it's hectic as a global leader to onboard, offboard people, train, motivate folks. Getting the time also is very difficult. One, identifying the right person, and then getting the time as well.
Yes, and I think what helped here is, of course, to identify the right person. So when I was looking for people, when I was looking to have guests on the show, couple of things that I kept in mind. One, they must be a leader who have themselves faced this challenge in their career, in the career growth. Or secondly, they have to be a leader who have dealt with this on an organizational level. So these two type of people were in my radar, and thankfully I have lot of interesting people in my network today, and they love to come and share their thoughts about it because they realized that it was important to have a conversation around it and then come up with solutions together. So that's how I went about finding the right people for the show.
Fantastic. And in your first episode, Rekha Narendra, if I remember that right, she did some 3D simulation for her leadership team. Um, do you want to talk about that? This is a very interesting concept.
Yes, and I found it interesting too. So what Rekha was mentioning, that their leadership team was taken through a 3D simulation workshop where they were put those 3D simulation, the spectacles that we talk about, the big ones that you see, and they were given a situation to role reverse. So the male leaders were supposed to be behaving and experiencing what women leaders behave, and vice versa.
That is interesting.
Yeah. And what you mentioned was that because of this incident, because of this particular training that the leadership team went through, at the end of the training, there was a huge transformation. The men understood what really women go through, and women could empathize better with the men in the system. So that was amazing about this episode.
Yeah, I think it's important to know each other, what uh, men and women, each other's challenges are, and support each other, and avoid the biases and creating glass ceiling for each one. I think that's important. And using technology over here, augmented reality, virtual reality, to make people feel what happens, I think is an amazing concept. Yeah. So that's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
In episode two, Parul Sethi spoke about hiring challenges, and there are different biases and setbacks when you look at a candidate. You want to talk more about that?
Yeah, I think she talked about specifically career break,
Career
if you
break,
talk
okay.
about, right? And, she is an acclaimed leader herself. She is a sales director in a big organization, in a hospitality industry where we don't see a lot of sales, a lot of women in the sales industry, right? And she is a go-getter herself. And when she had a career break and she was talking about coming back to the industry, she felt that in India specifically, there was a big mind block, that people who go for who have career break, there's some problem with them. Okay. Now
Yeah.
that's not the case in countries like Europe, where they take sabbaticals on a regular basis. And they believe when they take sabbatical or career break, they're actually nurturing themselves better and they are better suited and better productive when they come back to the workforce. So she was talking about this bit.
Yeah, interestingly, I saw a post recently about someone going on a maternity leave, and while they were on maternity leave, they were promoted, and she was able to go on maternity leave again without any challenges and problems. So, looks like things are changing here at India as well. So that's good. That's good to know. Now, the next episodes, I think Salma, 19-year-old, and her journey. Do you want to talk about Salma and what she did?
Oh yes, absolutely. Salma is one of my favorite in the show because how she has grown from where she was and today. Yesterday I was seeing Salma's post on social media and she said, when I was 19, I was 85 kilos weight. Today I'm 51 and I'm 67 kilos weight. And that time I was living in a cage. Today I'm living in a life that I have created for myself. That is, I think, is growth is all about. She was married off at the age of 19 and was living in almost like a cage, where she was supposed to wear burqa because of her religious orientation, and her family wanted her to be under burqa, not talk in loud voice, and so on and so forth. Today she's actually mentoring many businesses. She's a acclaimed business growth mentor and living a life of her own. I
Yeah,
think that is what growth is all about.
yeah, I completely agree. And as women, it becomes really important to network, and sometimes networking becomes a challenge for many because of the social setting, and sometimes it's looked upon in a different way. Now, Viji, in I think the fourth episode, she spoke about how it is important to network for women and how to turn that into an advantage, and why it is really important for women. You want to talk about that?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, I completely agree with what Buji says, that I believe the network is your net worth, right?
Absolutely.
So, why I do say that? As women, when it comes to our personal setting, our family setting, we are great family bonding person. Like, we are the one who are keeping the family together, right? We are keeping in touch with our family members, we are calling them, we are making sure that the family keeps in touch with each other, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to our professional networking, we somehow fumble. And that's where I think women can just reorganize themselves to create such professional relationships that becomes their tribe and that becomes their net worth eventually. See me, Anish. I mean, you said that today I have so much fan following, I have so many people that follow me, etc. But more than followers, I think I have a huge tribe. What I mean by that, these people are always there for me. All I need to do is send one message out, and there will be 10 people who are ready to help me from a professional growth point of view. I think that is what it can do for any women when they start thinking their network as their net worth.
Yeah, and this is applicable to men as
Yes.
well. Network is your net worth, and they also say that don't net your network. It's a continuous process, an ongoing process. Continue investing, building it, because you don't know when that will be helpful, and never expect return from your network. It will anyways give the return that you're expecting. Now, since we started off with different setbacks, right? And turning these setbacks into opportunity. I'm a strong believer in that because I do that for my day to day life. Do you want to talk about how Gauri turned her setback into opportunity and what she did?
Oh, yes, my favorite possibilitarian. She calls herself possibilitarian. What she means is that every challenge has a possibility, behind that. And she also, like me, comes from a very small town in India. She was, I think, somewhere in Assam, where she studied in a small school which didn't have different classes. It did not have English medium. Every class sat together in one class and studied. From there on, today she is one of the sought after HR leaders in India, and she's actually conferred as one of the top 100 HR leaders in India. So yes, check out her episode if you want to know how she turned her entire challenge into the possibilities with 5 P's model. She is just amazing.
Yeah. And I remember in one of the episodes, I think it's Sonia who spoke about CAPE. I don't recollect um, the full form of it. Do you want to talk about CAPE? Because I remember it's a very interesting thing, but I don't remember, unfortunately, about it. So for me and for the audience, I think it'll be good.
Absolutely. What Sonia mentioned in her episode was that all leaders, like superheroes or super Wonder Womans, let's see, we call it that, should wear cape, right? What is a cape? Let's see. CAPE. She says every leader must wear consistency on their sleeves. They must all be authentic. They must all have a purpose and persistence to grow themselves and their teams. And last but not the least, they must all be empathetic towards themselves and others. So that's cape, my friends, for you.
And so while you wear the cape, but um, how do you get the spotlight? I mean, as someone in the organization, as a woman leader or aspiring woman leader, you need to have that spotlight. Someone needs to help you move along, guide you in the process, um, in this ecosystem, right? So I think Soumya spoke about turning the spotlight, and how to go about that.
Yes, yes. Soumya, what she mentioned is that generally what we do when we go through challenges, our first instinct is to blame others.
Hmm.
I do that a lot, Anish, don't I? Whenever I'm going through a challenge, I blame you for a matter of fact, right? It's all because of you I'm going through that challenge. But no, that's not the point. It's always me. It's always at my end. I can control my situation. I can control my challenges and turn them into the way it come out to be. So I think what Soumya was mentioning in the episode was that we all must turn the cycle towards us, turn the spotlight, focus back to us, and make sure that we are able to get what we need and we are in control of our results. That's what she was talking about. So to answer your question, Anish, if you want to bring back the spotlight on you, it's you who need to be the center of gravity and not the other way around. Not your boss, not your company, not your colleagues, not your team. Nobody. It's you who have to be the center of gravity.
Yeah, for which it's important to have the right frame of mind, positive thinking, positive attitude, never give up approach to life. It's you who can make it happen, no one else, right? I mean, I think that's what it is. Now, that really means you should have a very good self consciousness, and conscious economy is something that Mark spoke about. I found it very interesting. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the first time I got to know something about this conscious economy. And I was fascinated to know that what he was talking about, that what is conscious economy? And according to him, conscious economy is nothing but making your results around yourself, your environment, your society and the larger world. So whatever you do, instead of a selfish motive, if you think from a consciousness of yourself, your family, your society, and at the world at a large, the results are much better. One sentence that always, is there in my head, what Mark talked about, is that right now, most of the world is driven by male energy. He's high on energy, he talks. And he said, imagine if the tables turn and most of the world is run by feminine energy, would we see a bigger, better, more balanced, empathetic world?
Yeah, something to deeply think about. Yeah, and interestingly, I saw the new Indian census which said there are more women in India than men.
Yes.
There are more girls than boys. So that's a big change for India itself, given the history. And I hope, and I'm already seeing many women leaders, entrepreneurs growing. So this is fantastic. Now, moving on to the next topic, when we got an opportunity to speak, and I had the opportunity to meet Afif in person, right? When he said his job is because of his people, right? That's an amazing thought, I truly believe. And that's a very important thing for leaders, managers, not to think about themselves. It's about their role, and they exist because of their people, right? So that's a beautiful, beautiful thought. So, um, how has been your interaction with Afif? I know you've done a lot of work with Afif and for his team, and vice versa. So, yeah, I want to learn more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Afif is one of those leaders who I look up to. While he's a great friend, at the same time, he's also a great mentor, as a peer mentor, you call it, right? And the reason I say this is because the way he conducts himself as a leader, he's adored. He runs a team of 700 plus people, and each one of them, Anish, you wouldn't believe this, each one of them love him. That's a huge feat to achieve for a leader. And that is why I love Afif so much. And I think what he says, that yes, his job is because of his people, is a noble thought. If each leader could think about like this, our working system, professional space will be much more beautiful.
And see, one side we spoke about job being job because of people, so you need to be a people enabler. Think of the people you have, their growth and things like that. Consciousness, being a good human, you know, you take control in making that change, for which a lot of confidence is needed. Now, there is a thin line between arrogance and confidence, right? Which I think Brian, spoke about confidence and arrogance and thin line, being that. What is your view on that?
Yeah, my self leadership guru, Mr. Andrew Bryant, and yes, he talked about it. He just said one sentence. He says, confidence is when walk into a room thinking that you're good enough and you don't feel the need to compare yourself with others.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas arrogance is when you go inside a room and think you are the best and no one else can compete with you.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think this is an always a challenge for everyone to be compared. Right? I mean, this is our. I think our history and culture has a lot of comparison. Okay, your neighbor, your cousin is a doctor, has got an engineering and computer science, got a good job, bought a house. It's always a comparison, right? Now that itself is a problem because everyone is unique, everyone is different, and people get wired, and that grows into the organization. So that is a very, very interesting perspective that we all need to be worried about.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I want to add something here. We're almost towards the end of the year and we are going to start a new year very, very soon. So I want to ask you right now, I want to ask you right now that what have you done in this year? Let's stop comparing yourself with what your friends have done, what your other colleagues have done, what he has done, what she has done. Instead, think about it, how you were in January 2021 versus now in December 2021. And Have you grown from there to here? If you have, then congratulations, my friends.
Now, we spoke about setbacks and turning that into opportunities. Now, Sangeeta in her episode mentioned she looks at every setback as or every failure as a starting point for another opportunity. Right? That's the beginning. That's the turning point. Whether it's a U-turn, whether it is 180-degree or 90-degree, that does not matter. But where is it taking you, and what the potential is to be able to see it. Because anytime there is a failure, usually people get dejected. They feel sad. They feel, oh, why me? Why is it happening to me? Right? But she has a very different perspective. She almost thinks like a rewind, and this is the starting point. I'm born now, and this is where it will take me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, majority of people do see setbacks and challenges as a dejection point, as a point where they think, oh no, this is the end. But think about it. If you thought that this was just the beginning of a new era,
Yeah.
new thing that you can do, will that change the way you think about it? To me, it does. Every time I see a setback, I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do about this and let's see what we can bring out of this. So that's how it changes the way you bring out your results.
Yeah. And Riti was talking about Red Dot Initiative, right? Moving on topic from Sangeeta Rawat's Red Dot Initiative. Now, Red Dot Initiative itself name is okay, very you feel very inquisitive about okay, what is Red Dot Initiative?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to reveal more. Why don't let them hear it from you?
Yeah, ET is one of those leaders who I say that looks are deceptive. When you see her, Anish, you will not know that what capability she has. She'll come across as a really nice, soft kind of a personality who probably can be bended or twisted easily. But beware, behind that unassuming face is this gritty, strong, fiercely strong and brave lady. Now, coming to Red Dot Initiative, Anish, she started Red Dot Initiative like how I started Setback Leadership podcast to help other women. And the reason she started this initiative was because she was seeing a lot of domestic violence cases increasing during this period. She runs a women support group, and over there, many kinds of people are there, many kind of women are there, entrepreneurial, business, corporate women, leaders, and so on and so forth. And during the lockdown, when she reached out for help, many of them were asking for help regarding domestic abuse. That's how Red Dot Initiative started as an SOS thing. And today she has already helped some 200 plus women get out of the such situations.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean that's an amazing initiative, much needed. We need to make that change. Respect is a very important. Give respect, take respect, respect everyone. Doesn't matter who they are. We believe that at home,
Yes.
right? Whether it is with house help or anyone for that matter, is really important for us. So, and I know you're also the soft, hard person. Sometimes you're soft, sometimes you're tough. Uh, so, you want to talk about more about that? Since everyone knows you as tough person, maybe.
I don't know.
Okay, but you know what? I would say she's very soft person as well. So she has got the two sides of herself.
Yeah, I think I believe in showing inner strength and being softer outside. Uh, I personally wear my vulnerabilities, my failures on my sleeves, totally. There was a time when I used to get bogged down by them, but then today it has completely changed. I feel those setbacks is what, like those badges of honors that the army gives you. Every time you are a war veteran, you get hurt in a war, or you have those scars on your face or anywhere in your body, they're seen as your bravery items, right? So similarly, I wear my vulnerabilities on my sleeve as my badges of honor. But yes, when the time comes, I'm really tough, and you've seen that, Anish. When I need to be really tough, I am tough, and I really create that kind of a situation where a lot of my friends sometimes say when you're in a serious mood, you should be avoided. So,
That's with me as well. If she's in serious mode, I definitely avoid her, right? And now Neerja spoke about having women having their career aspiration and goals planned out very intentional, and let it not be like GPS, wherever it takes kind of a model. Having that vision, intentionally working towards it, convincing people on the way. Uh, since you set that path for yourself and you've seen many others doing it for themselves, I think it's an important thing for many women to learn from that, right? Because everyone gets bogged down with uh, many ceilings. It's not just glass ceiling at the top, but glass ceilings right, left, front, back, both. I mean, all directions, right? Think of it like you're in a cube. So everywhere there is some kind of a ceiling, if you will, and how to navigate with that.
yeah. I mean, uh, the best part about Neeja's conversation was that she said, I never aspired to be a career woman. Now, think about it. A woman who never aspired to have a career has got a huge body of experience, 30 plus years of experience, where she is now revered as one of the top leaders in the industry and teaching others, mentoring others, coaching others to become better leaders. That is incredible. So, that's why I think it is important for women to be more intentional about their careers because they can achieve way more than they are able to achieve right now when they have that intentionality around their career. I would say that, Anish.
And see, while you're trying to do that, and when people stop you from growing, stop you from doing things what you want to do, right? In the process, you will feel hatredness towards people, right? You will feel angry with people saying that I want to do this, but you're not letting me do this, right? Now, Shreya spoke about how to deal with hatredness with kind. That's an amazing thing, right? And I also see that as turning challenge into opportunity, turning setback into bounce back opportunities, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a beautiful way of thinking about it, that when somebody is stopping you or something is stopping you, it's because they don't know better. They only know that that's how it is supposed to be. It's not because they don't want you to go forward. It's not that they're being intentionally being rude or bad to you. It's because they don't know better. So if you think from that perspective, compassion and kindness are the two things that can help any woman leader to deal with such big challenges with ease like this.
Yeah, that's amazing. 14 episodes covering so many leaders, interesting perspectives, their challenges and where they are, including your own story, right? So, thank you so much for bringing these, identifying these amazing leaders, inviting them to the podcast, and sharing this for everyone to learn from, be inspired. Now, is the podcast over? I know it's end of the year. Is it over? What next?
What do you guys think? Is it over? No ways. Come on. We've started a big movement right now, and this is just the beginning. So, no, Anish, it is not over. We are coming back with a season two of the podcast where we will be talking about humongous sizes of personal challenges that different kinds of leaders have faced and how they have turned those very challenges into their opportunities and growth and progress opportunities. So, stay tuned. Third week of January is going to be another brilliant start of another new season.
With that, any final thoughts that you would like to share for our audience?
Yes, Anish, I would say that it is important. The first thing is mindset. We need to have to look back at the kind of way we look at things. So, therefore, mindset change is the first thing that we need to delve into. Second thing I would talk about is the processes that we follow currently. We all have our standard processes to follow a certain direction. As a matter of fact, most of us are taking that same beaten path, well beaten, well walked path, and expecting different results. So we need to change that process if we are expecting different results. And finally, I would say the tools that we use in our lives that help us to become better version of ourselves, take us towards growth, take us towards progress, and take us towards our success needs to change. So, three things: mindset, processes, tools. Once you have corrected these things in your life, I would say no setback can stop you, man. I mean, we just have to go after that and it will just move aside, and you will be able to grow without any challenges.
Yeah, I mean that's what resilience is, right? It's about the mind, the tools, the processes, and the way you approach things. Having the right side, having a positive attitude, looking at setback as your starting point, ability to bounce back, look at from a completely different perspective, is what resilience is.
Yes.
Pandemic has taught all of us about it, right? And this is an opportunity for us to learn from it. Has world changed? Yes, but look at all of us are doing fine. We've managed the situation. We are thriving. Let the same spirit be for ourselves, our family, our friends, in our own individual capacity, and overall make the world a better place. Right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Anish, I wanted to tell you one more thing here, and this is also for the audience, a little something that is happening, brewing in the background. And that is, there's an interesting book on the cards for setback leadership, breaking glass ceilings. Coming soon, we will announce the details very, very soon. Stay tuned. What do you think, Anish?
Yeah, I wanted to ask because you've been working like a maniac for the last few months, and shooing me away whenever I'm disturbing you. So definitely something interesting cooking up, and everyone should definitely benefit from it. So I'm personally looking forward to reading the manuscript, before others can. Hopefully, you will give me access, an opportunity to have a look at
I'll
it.
have to think about it and I'll have to ask the audience should he get the access opportunities for the manuscript before you guys do? Tell me in the comments.
Well, if you think I'm not going to pay for it because it's manuscript, let's make a deal. Right? I will pay double the amount for the book so that you give me the manuscript and then so yeah.
Right. Yes, yes, yes. We will think about that.
Okay. Final question for you. We've been married for a very long time, right? I started off with, is it a setback for you, for me? We said we will talk about it.
Okay. You really want me to answer that question on
Well,
the live show?
I think it's okay. Why not?
No. Okay. On a serious note, no. It has been a brilliant journey. It has been. I mean, I've known you for almost 18, 19 years now, and we've been married for almost 16 years. Best part is that we have grown together. And as I always say, when there is a growth in anything, whether it is relationship, whether it is your career, whether it is your personal self, that's a good place to be in. We've always grown as people. You have grown, Anish, from where you started, and I have grown immensely from where we have started. I mean, we started in the same path, then we moved from different. We took different paths, but we still grow together. And the best thing I like is it does not feel as if you're married for 16 plus years. That should be a compliment for you. I am not
That,
saying anything more
that's
here.
that's good news. And since it's also a live show, so this is a proof, right? Everything is good. I'm good. Um, no, it's been a fantastic journey. It's important to understand each other, help each other. It's important, and this shows up in work as well, right? The same empathy towards each other, not having biases, um, and thinking of it as a journey, right? And setbacks will be there in everyone's life. It's important to deal with it and navigate in the process.
So true. I couldn't agree more with you.
So with that, we wrap up the season one, and we're looking forward to the next amazing, interesting season to start next year. So thank you so much, Shri, for being on the other side of the chair, letting me interview you. I hope I have not been a bad host. I have not grilled you as I promised, made it easier for you. But thanks again for giving me the opportunity, giving the opportunity to listen to all these amazing leaders, their perspective, that we are able to inspire, not ourselves, for our people, for our relatives, friends, and help everyone grow in the process. That's important.
Yes, true. You have been a great host, Anish. I loved you as a host and I enjoyed the show.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for um, taking time to see this. I know everyone is waiting for the holiday time, celebrations, vacations, travel. Enjoy your time. Stay safe, very important. See you very soon with a
See
new
you. See
show.
you very soon and wish you a
Happy
happy new
New Year!
year.